If a company is in a legacy position, if they're still looking at bricks and mortar, be it a financial institution or retailer, if they have not built a new model, then I would steer clear.
Jim Marous is an internationally recognized financial industry expert, the co-publisher of the Financial Brand and Digital Banking Report, the host of the Banking Transform podcast, a sought-after motivational speaker, and a banking advisor to the White House. Jim, thank you so much for joining us today on TCN TV.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Now, Jim, the COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated digital transformation across a number of industries, and it's certainly something that financial institutions are talking about. You've said yourself, it's one of the things you're most passionate about. I'm keen to know, are banks really taking enough steps to adapt to the digital era, or are they at risk of being replaced?
Research we've done has found that the importance of digital, the realization that there's an importance of digital is definitely there. There's no doubt that people understand that. The big challenge, however, is they're not doing anything to change that. So when we looked at the importance level is very high. The prioritization is very high. The ability to actually act against that is very low. The investment is still very low. So while organizations know that digital transformation is number one, the importance of data, analytics, AI is number two, they're not putting the money and the efforts toward that. And I really believe the cause of that is legacy culture.
Legacy culture. Now, let's talk more about that, Jim. You're known for telling financial institutions they need to adapt not just their technology, but their culture to the digital age. Can you expand on why this change in culture is so important and how this adaptation would look like in the future?
Well, the change in culture shows that when you're embracing the digital transformation process, you're not just making a better digital app for an iPhone or a Droid. What you're doing is you're actually making a brand new way to engage from the inside out. So the foundation upon which things are built are really based on how you're going to build that digital platform. So what it's going to feel like, you're going to know right off the bat that it feels much more like Google or Amazon or Uber than it does like your traditional bank.
So what you're saying is maybe something that looks and feels more intuitive to the end user?
Definitely. And using data to make my engagement process, my experience, feel better for me.
And as you know, a lot of these new changes rely on new technology, and traditional financial institutions have been pretty wary of blockchain technology and unregulated cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Do you see this changing anytime soon? And what are we likely to see as the old way evolves to the new way?
Don't see cryptocurrency being a major influence to the marketplace. It could be at some point, but right now it's more of a speculation than a currency.
So you're not buying any of these cryptocurrencies yourself?
No, I've done that, been there. It was not a good scene, but it's not a regulated industry. But blockchain is a little bit closer. But I think the first thing we're going to see, because we in the industry talk about a lot more than we do, and I think the place where the talk's going to get closer to the action is in digital transformation and probably the cloud. Because with all this data, you need a place to store it and where to manage it. But we're not going to engage and embrace these technologies, these capabilities, until security and privacy are in place. So they're all running consecutively and in parallel. But I think you're going to see a lot more in the cloud. And we've talked about the cloud for a long time. But beyond the biggest financial institutions, the work in the cloud has been very minimal. It's huge in China.
Okay, Jim, so the cloud, security and privacy is what we need to be focused on. When we look at the big tech players, companies like Apple and Google, should the banking sector be worried about them moving into payments? And do you foresee them offering their own banking products rather than partnering with financial institutions in the future?
You know, the technology field has been blessed by not having the level of regulation that the banking industry has. I think most technology companies are starting to show their colors and what's best for them. And what that means is they can provide the engagement platforms, the way people feel about their technology. They can do really well in that space, but I don't think any of them want to be regulated like a financial institution. So if they can partner with a bank and be the front door to the engagement experience and to provide added value and added benefits, then and also be able to use your data to know me, look out for me, and reward me, then that's the best combination.
Okay, Jim, we're talking about added value, benefits, and data. How do you see the rise of buy now, pay later tech companies like Afterpay, very popular here in Australia, impacting the whole financial sector?
You know, it's a segment that the banks have to decide if they want. So the buy now, pay later is a lot of small dollar loans. I mean, a lot of the business is not on the big stuff; it's on the small stuff. So I can a person that moves paycheck to paycheck can defer a payment on something they want now. That's fine. There's some risk to that, but it's also what I'll call small dollar loans, and many financial institutions right now aren't sure if they want to play in that. But you know, the good news is, as we learn more about the long-term business model and see if it works or not, then financial institutions can decide, certainly the big ones can decide, do I want to build the same? Do I want to buy the tech, or do I want to buy the company?
Okay, so build, buy the tech, or buy the company. We can see why tech is such a thrilling sector to be in, but looking ahead, where are you actually seeing the best growth opportunities here for all the investors out there?
If a company is in a legacy position, if they're still looking at bricks and mortar, be it a financial institution, a retailer, if they have not built a new model, then I would steer clear. If they're a company that's built on data, technology, and analytics, and is really focused on, it's said too often, but customer centric, where you're really looking at the way people want to transact. And we have seen more about the way people want to transact in the last 6 months than we did in the previous 10 years. We now know that consumers are much more likely to say, you know what, I don't mind using my computer to buy things that I've never bought before. I mean, people are buying cars online. We bought furniture in the last 6 months online. We've always bought clothes and personal care products, but as you look in ways people are going to be transacting and not needing to leave home, maybe not needing to make their own meals, but have them delivered, but that the knowledge in doing so, if you can make it so that you can work on my behalf as a concierge to say, I know what your habits are. I know every third or fourth week you like sushi. I know that you really love lamb as opposed to chicken, whatever that may be. And if you can build decisions around that kind of analytics, that kind of knowledge, and work on my behalf, I'm more apt to use you.
So when it comes to investing, which companies should we be looking at with the best prospects?
Find the young companies that are not too new, because I think then it depends on your risk profile. And you know, you look at the big players, you look at payments companies, you look at companies that are going to excel going forward, and there's a lot of them. And now on the other hand, some companies that continually get invested in are being supported more by governments than by the investors. And we've got to be careful, because if there isn't a digital model, they're going to be sitting on a lot of capital that they can't do anything with.
Well, Jim, opportunities and risks. Thank you for running us through all of them and for your legendary insights today.
Thank you. I appreciate being on the show.
And thank you for watching. If you like what you see, like and share the video, subscribe to TCN TV, or drop us a comment. Tell us who you want to see next and what you want to ask them. Or if you're an investor, send us an email so we can keep you in the loop with the latest ideas to empower.